Hello, my name is Carrie. Welcome to my tiny little kitchen. I have been cooking since Today we are making an Asian dessert called Almond Float. The first thing we need is 1 cup of room temperature or cold water. I'm going to place that into my bowl. And I have 4 envelopes of Knox unflavored natural gelatin. I'm going to cut those envelopes open and sprinkle the gelatin over the top of the water. That will help dissolve and soften the gelatin. 2 more envelopes. This has no sugar in it and no flavor. We're going to be adding that. This is a recipe that I first discovered in the late 1970s, and it's very light and perfect to go together with Chinese food. And tomorrow my younger sister is having a party at her house. She will be serving Chinese food for lunch. She's having a goodbye party for her daughter who is returning to college, and I am going to bring the almond float dessert. So we need this to sit for 5 minutes to soften, so we'll set our timer. While that's softening, I have a pan here. We're going to add 2½ cups of water to our pan, and we'll put that onto a medium heat to heat up. Our gelatin has been softening for 5 minutes. You can see that it's rather solid. It's absorbed into the water, and we're waiting for our water in the pan on the stove to begin boiling. As soon as that's boiling, we will add 2/3 of a cup of honey and our softened gelatin to the water. We'll stir to mix that, and then we'll add our milk and our almond extract. Well, the water in our pot has begun to boil, so I'm going to add 2/3 of a cup of honey. You can also use sugar, but I prefer the flavor of the honey. So there's our honey, and now we're going to add our softened gelatin. Not only is this a light Asian dessert, but it's healthier than regular Jell-O because it doesn't have chemicals in it. It doesn't have artificial flavors. I'm going to turn the heat off and just stir that gelatin and honey so it's completely liquid and blended. Next, I'm going to add 1½ cups of low-fat milk. I'm also going to use 1½ cups of half and half, which is half cream and half milk. You could do all milk if you like. I like to do half and half and milk because it gives just a little bit creamier, nice texture. So we'll add the half and half in, especially since we're using low-fat milk. That will make our Jell-O a little bit creamier. And I have some pure almond extract. It's not an artificial flavoring. We're going to use 2 tablespoons. And yes, that is a tablespoon, not a teaspoon. If you don't like almond flavor, you could also use vanilla. So we're going to mix this together. And I have a rectangular glass pan. And we're going to pour our gelatin mixture into the pan very carefully. Now this will go into the refrigerator for 1 to 3 hours until the gelatin is set and is no longer liquidy but can be cut into squares. So we're going to put that in the refrigerator and then we'll come back when the gelatin is ready. Our Almond Float gelatin has set up. So we're going to cut it into cubes. Normally, when I am making this recipe, I make half the amount that we made today, and I make it in a square pan like this one. But because I'm taking this to my sister's house for a party, I actually made 2 large pans of Almond Float so that we will have enough for about 15 or 16 people. I'd rather have extra than not have enough. So you can see I've cut lines down the gelatin. I want to make squares, some cubes of our Jell-O mixture. Now the Almond Float gelatin is cut into cubes, and then you put a few cubes into a serving dish, and then top the gelatin with fruit. So today I'm using mandarin oranges. I want to drain the liquid off of the oranges. Now you could use mandarin oranges, you could use lychee fruit, you could use fruit cocktail, And you just want to drain the liquid and only use the fruit. Normally, I would use a small can of fruit because I'm using a small pan of Jell-O, but I'm using a large pan of fruit today. And here's my little serving bowl, and we'll take a few squares of almond Jell-O out. So we have a few squares of almond Jell-O, and then we'll top that with a little bit of fruit. And this is Almond Float. So this is our Almond Float Asian gelatin with fruit. Thank you for watching, and remember to season everything that you do with love.